Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the seventh conversation around CEP, Executive Program. We're super happy to be co-hosting this between HSBC and MetaBaseQ. Today, we have the pleasure of having Enrique Leiva and KJ talking about a crisis simulation in case of anybody suffering an attack. Super exciting speakers. KJ has been working with Immersive Labs for some time, has been in the space for several years, has been able to see some of the real attacks in person and see, and part of his dedication today is how is he helping companies be prepared and ready in case of an attack, which at the end of it is like, when is it going to happen? Not when it's going to happen, you know? So everybody should be always thinking about that. And then Enrique Leiva, he's been in the industry for multiple years, amazing entrepreneur, has sold a few companies, has operated a few distribution companies globally. And then now he's the CEO of MBQ Technologies, focused on distribution of some of the best technologies across MBQ. So looking forward to this conversation. Enrique, I pass it on to you and welcome everybody. Don't forget to ask questions if you guys have anything on mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Mauricio. Hey, great day, everybody. Thank you for being here and thank you for having us. So one of the things that we are going to be working today is the crisis simulation. And this exercise is very important in companies to do so everybody can get a good feeling of how cybersecurity crisis affects everyone, not just IT. In many companies, we see that they throw cybersecurity issues or problems as a technology or as an IT issue, when really it is an issue that involves the whole company. And a lot of this has to be about building a culture of cybersecurity in a company. If we have good practices and a good culture of cybersecurity, a lot of the attacks can be mitigated because we can have the best technology, we can have the best software, the best tools, and but if we do not have a culture of people and people become our biggest risk, well, that can jeopardize everything that we're doing. So today we're going to have a crisis simulation, which is something that we use with a tool called Immersive Labs. Immersive Labs is the company where KJ is from, and we partner with them to do these kind of exercises, and they also have labs for training virtually. So I hope you guys enjoy everything. I invite everybody to participate. There's going to be a code that's going to be on the slides in a web page for you guys to go into that web page and put in that code, because this is going to be interactive. So we want everybody to participate. You can participate either on your phones or directly on your browsers, on your computers, or and also if you guys got any comments and questions, you can do it along as we're moving on. And we expect everybody to be able to participate and have fun today and learn a little bit about cybersecurity and about the importance of this in our companies and organizations. So KJ, you want to kick it off?
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys having me as well. Let me share my screen. All right. As mentioned, we'll be using this basically, we'll be going to this website here. We've also have it in the chat. I'll just have everyone go through to play.immersivelabs.online. There's a code there for you to use, and I'll just have everyone register with that code. And this is going to be completely anonymous. That's a great part about it. I may go back later on with Enrique and look at who chose what answers, but besides that, you guys are going to be just fine. So just make sure you guys are not worried about how you're selecting answers. We want this to be fun, interactive, and also, again, just kind of showing like how things can be run in a different way.
So we're going to give a couple of minutes to give you time to go into the web page and put the code in so you guys can start to vote and interact.
If you guys run into issues, let me know.
So while we give people time, I just want to make a mention of, the CEP module where we had Matt DeVos, KJ. Matt DeVos said something that was very interesting. He said, if you have all your patching and your systems up to date, and you have a good password culture, you know, you can mitigate 85% of all attacks. And I think that I wouldn't just leave it on the password, the good password practice. I would say that it's a cybersecurity culture that to have, you know. And I was reading a book on cyber warfare the other day, and this book was talking about a case where you know, some people in the Middle East wanted to gain access to some systems from military systems, and what they did is they threw USBs in all the parking lots, and expecting somebody to pick one up and put it in a computer to see whose it is, and that way they gained access and control to systems. So and this is something that it doesn't need to be an IT guy. It can be somebody from human resources. It can be somebody in security. It can be somebody in sales. So everybody can be a risk. So that's why these things are so important to everybody.
No, I definitely agree. And I'm glad you brought up USB, because this is actually one we're going to be going through today for one of our customers, McLaren, where someone gets a USB and they notice it on one of the computers, and it actually affects the McLaren during their qualifying race. So it's again another representation of some of the capabilities here, where it's these standard tabletops. You know, they're hard to make realistic and really pressure tests, and I think that's what the fun is going to be today, where we can see McLaren. You know, they're running through a qualifying race. They've been breached with a USB, and you know, really trying to figure out like, how do you actually mitigate while you're racing and you're losing data of the car, which is important, right? Especially as you're racing, and even for the safety of the driver. So it'll be fun to see how everyone answers today, especially as we go through McLaren. Everyone loves McLaren. Who doesn't love F1? So give just a few more seconds, I guess, to get the remaining people on. And again, if you guys are having any issues, please let us know. We can get you guys on. It's way more fun if you're interacting. It'd be fun.
Yeah, I see we got almost 30 people, but there's still a lot of people that are not connected. So everybody, please get online in the play.immersivelabs.online, and here's the code 9D8C2E, so you can interact.
We'll put it in the chat so people can just make sure that in the chat they can click on it, and
all right,
just in case there's questions.
All right, so and then the great thing is, as we're running through, you guys can join at any point as well. So even if you're not able to get on right now, we'll make sure to jump in, but you guys will be able to join at any point as well as we go through the exercise. All right. So I'll go ahead and go through the overview itself. Like I was mentioning before, right here, we're basically running as a crisis simulation that we did for McLaren. This is one of our existing customers. Basically, at the end of the day, right, talking about how, you know, F1 cars, you're going through at high speeds, and you're really worried about different things, like different areas. One, the driver, how he's doing, the performance of the car itself. So today we're actually going to be going through, you know, basically McLaren, where they have 8 physical hosts. They have 4.5 terabytes of RAM, 140 terabytes of storage, and they're actually going through a qualifying race. So as they're doing this, security is really crucial. The scenario itself, we're going to be controlling McLaren's decision, trackside, and also at the British Grand Prix, really also think about like brand reputation, security, performance, and as like the incident itself actually starts unfolding. Today, we're going to be playing the role as a team principal. So as you're making the decisions, just trying to think what you would do as the principal of the team. You know, what decision would you make, not necessarily as IT, but really as a principal today. All right, so we'll get started. So the pre-qualifying. It's the weekend of the British Grand Prix, and McLaren is preparing for Saturday's qualifying race. Lando Norris has made an incredible start with wins already claimed in Australia, Italy, and Spain. A podium finish will mean he tops the standings in Austria. The sun is beating down trackside when an engineer hands you a USB device she found plugged into your server equipment. Nobody has claimed ownership, but she thinks someone from IT probably misplaced it. What is your first course of action? All right, so this is where you guys can actually start voting. So option 1, do we want to warn other teams as a suspicious trackside activity? Option 2, do we want to investigate the USB immediately? Option 3, do we want to investigate the USB after qualifying? Or option 4, no action required? Do we have enough information? Are we worried? You know, if we warn other teams, do you think maybe they'll think that we're just kind of messing with them, trying to make them worry to where they remove themselves from the qualifying race? So what do you think we should do? And these again are just a reminder, completely anonymous. So whatever you feel like your best guess will be, please do.
So somebody's walking on the track and they find a USB. What should they do?
Yep.
So this is the same as somebody being in their office or in the parking lot and finding a USB. What do you do with that USB?
Okay, we're 30 responses, not bad. All right, we get a few more seconds. Climbing quick, that's good. And it may ask you on your side how confident you are, and that you will have to respond to the competency level as well in order for your response to be registered, just in case you guys see that. All right, give it maybe like 5 more seconds. Four, 3, 2, 1. All right, we'll go ahead and reveal responses. Pretty good distribution. So it looks like a majority going for option 1, option 2. Looks like I saw someone say option 4. It would be great if anybody wants to talk about why they would choose, you know, option 1 versus option 2, or even why you choose option 4. Anybody want to defend their answers or change answers? Yeah, to me, like personally, I feel like warning other teams might be a little too soon, just because again, like I was kind of mentioning before, you know, will they actually trust you if it's a qualifying race? We're already doing well, and this is kind of a big deal, and it's a brand. Do we even want to really start ringing the bells and the alarms when we're not even sure right now if there's anything even on there? You know, so it maybe even better just to start investigating the USB, but really at the end of the day, I mean, maybe it's too soon to even take any action. What do you think, Enrique?
Well, yeah, I mean, I believe that. I mean, we're about to start the race, so and unless there's any disruption on something, I wouldn't, you know, necessarily. I'd probably let somebody know about it, but I don't think we need to, you know, go into the USB and see what's on it. You know, I think if it was important, it would come out during the race.
So we can go ahead and we'll go with the majority for now, since 54% of our guests today have already chosen option 1. We'll go ahead and go with that and see what the impact is.
Okay.
All right, and then you guys will notice this was an okay answer. You're going to see okay, you'll see weak, okay, good, and excellent. Those will be the 4 basically responses that you'll get back as we go through this. So this one we got kind of an okay answer, you know, decent. And then we'll give us a little bit of feedback so we can go through the feedback. So since the on-site engineer has found a rogue device in your trackside setup, the least preferred option here is to do nothing. USB devices can be used to transmit malware or even cause physical damage to hardware. You need to gather more information. Warning other teams of suspicious activity is an okay but extremely cautious option at this stage with so little information available, so it doesn't really make sense right now. The strongest answer is to investigate the USB immediately. Time is precious in a cyber incident, and a rapid response is crucial. So really, like, we don't know if it's bad, we don't know if it's good. Let's just go ahead and pull up that USB, see what's on there, make sure there's no issues. And then we from there can decide, like, do we need to tell everybody else, and what do we also do to make sure we're being safe as well.
So probably take it over to IT and give it to them and make sure that they take a look at it.
100%. Go ahead, Ricky, I'll let you, if you want to take this one. I don't know if you can see it,
Yeah,
or we can continue.
I'll go ahead and I'll take it. So pre-qualifying, you have alerted the other teams to the rogue USB in your setup. While some teams were thankful, others ridiculed your cautiousness, so they made fun of me. Ferrari was especially unhappy with your approach and accused you of attempting to sabotage its preparation. It said you will hear from the FIA. Regardless of this, you still have a decision to make about the USB. How will you proceed? So we still need to make a decision about what we're going to do with the USB that we found. What are the options that you're going to choose? So I'll ask everybody to please vote once the questions reveal, so we can decide as a team principal, what are we going to do? So we can either investigate the USB immediately. This may disrupt the team's rhythm, but you have to be wary of rogue equipment. Or the option 2, investigate the USB after the race. You shouldn't disrupt the race preparation, but will nevertheless look into this. So if this USB has something to do with a race or an issue, and we do it afterwards, that might have a consequence. So I'll let everybody vote. See what you prefer. Should we investigate immediately or should we do it after the race? What do you think, KJ?
For me personally, again, I think it's worth it. You know, we definitely should look. I mean, it's gonna be the simplest of things, but it could have major consequences if we don't address it. I mean, again, even before, like, I don't think we need to necessarily warn everybody else, but I think for us and our safety, I think we should at least investigate. Yeah, I think waiting for after could be dire. Who knows what could be on there. All right, 34 responses. This is a reminder as well, again, just in case if it does ask you how confident you are in the answer, please do select it, because if you do not select that, it actually will not submit the answer that you selected. It's funny, actually, before this, I didn't even think, and even before joining Immersive, I didn't think about all the other industries and how complex things can be. I mean, never thought F1, right? Like, they're going through a race, like that they may be breached during a race and what kind of consequences they could have. So it's interesting to be able to see how different industries respond, and also, you know, what things they have to go through. We have financial institutions that are also using this even for like hostage situations. Like, okay, now we've been robbed, now we have a hostage situation. What do we do at the financial institution? So it's interesting to see, and unfortunately, the reality of our different type of attacks, different factors that we have to go through.
Yeah, and different, you know, in different industries, like you mentioned, like manufacturing, for example, you know, so you can see the impact of what is going on when you have an attack in a manufacturing plant.
I'll give it 5 more seconds for the remaining responses. All right, let's go ahead and review.
Let's see what the response is.
So it looks like a majority is going for option 1.
All right, so investigate the USB immediately. So we failed to do that in the past, but now we've decided to take a look at it, see what's going on, see if there's anything suspicious or anything that needs to be addressed to make sure that we don't have any interruptions or any issues during the race. The second option, you shouldn't disrupt the race preparation. It was the least voted. So let's go ahead, KJ, and let's put option 1, see what we get.
All right, let's do it. All right, we got a great answer. So that's good. I mean, the strongest answer is to investigate immediately. Any other decision will result in lost time, which could prove crucial if the device is found to be malicious. Exactly right, right? Let's make sure we're looking at it.
Yeah, great answer, everybody. So if we find any hardware that we don't know what it is, we should always investigate, take it to your IT teams, make sure they take a look at it and see if there's any malicious about it before anybody makes use of it.
All right, so now we got post-qualifying. So trackside IT found nothing untoward with the USB, so nothing on there. However, the team sent it to McLaren Security for more thorough analysis. Both drivers were oblivious to the disturbance, and Lando qualified fastest, claiming pole position for tomorrow's race. So we didn't disturb the driver, didn't worry the driver. We took care of it on the backside. You have since received an ominous WhatsApp message from an unknown number claiming to be the threat group No Mercy. It says it will sabotage tomorrow's race unless McLaren sends 7 Bitcoins before midnight. The group has made unsubstantiated claims about a telemetry vulnerability in McLaren's setup, but your team doubts this. How we respond? All right, so we got a message, and I'll show you guys the message here. Just like we're saying, like you've been targeted by No Mercy. It's not a game. McLaren will fail tomorrow unless you send 7 Bitcoins to the below wallet by midnight UK. Clock is ticking.
All right, so you get a threat.
So it might warrant some actual attention. So option 1, do we want to inform the police and await instruction? Option 2, do we want to inform the FIA and await instruction? The F1 governing body must be aware immediately. Option 3, do we want to pull out of the race? Safety is the highest priority, take no risks. Option 4, do we want to pay the threat group? Pulling out of the race would have greater financial implications than a one-off payment. So again, think of this as the team principal. What do you need to do? And I'm sure like a lot of things go through a principal's mind when things like this take place. I mean, I'm sure, again, we were talking about brand reputation and also being able to qualify, and then, even the driver's safety. I mean, there's a lot of different things that I'm sure are going through their head.
Well, yeah, especially because Lando was first. So he's the fastest. So he's going to start the race in pole position. And now they got to take a decision of what they're going to do with this race. There's a lot of financial implications. Also, the reputation also of the team.
And not easy decisions.
So everybody, what decision would you make? Would you inform the police and await instruction? Inform the FIA? Pull out of the race, or pay the threat group, guys?
That's another thing that always comes up with option 4 with paying the threat group. I don't know if it's the same in LATAM, but like the things we have over here, one of the regulations we have is basically saying a lot of industries can't even pay the threat groups because they consider that working with terrorists. So that could be another thing too, where I immediately remove some of these options.
Well, and it's the issue also that if you pay, you give them more money to, operate and increase their operation. So the threat just becomes bigger.
Yeah, and they're trustworthy, right? I mean, these guys they're not bad guys. I mean, if they're doing this, I mean, we could trust them to pay them off and they're not going to do anything. No big deal.
Yeah. They're probably going to come through.
Yeah, I trust them. All right, we'll give it another 5 seconds for the remaining responses. All right, let's go ahead and reveal. Pretty good distribution. So we got most majority going for option 1, option 2. And again, feel free if you guys would like to defend any of your answers instead of just going with majority, we could definitely do that as well.
Yeah, and you can write it in the chat and the answers and questions if you guys want to mention. So feel free to participate.
And hopefully you guys are seeing also like this type of tabletop setup is like how it can be more effective, especially with us being able to defend answers. We're not relying on just one person. We're not relying on, just IT to Enrique's point from earlier. At least this gives everybody an opportunity to participate and then also see how the group is participating. And usually we can get some kind of debate going to talk about like why 1 may be better than 2. Like for me here, I don't know necessarily if I want to even inform FIA, like that could be a good option. I could see why that's a good option. I mean, I may actually want to just go ahead and go with option 1.
Inform the police.
Yeah.
Yeah. And though the FIA, don't you think that they should like an authority should warn the other teams? Because
No, that's true.
we tried to do that, but then some of them laughed in our face. So maybe they need somebody with authority to go in and tell them, hey guys, there's a real threat here. Just be careful.
No, that's a really good point too. Now we know it's at least more credible. At least we know there's potential there.
Yeah, but in these kind of decisions, there's always you need to consult with your legal teams, you need to consult with your PR teams. So we make sure that this doesn't blow up in our face, because companies are required by law in some industries to report all these issues. So and also the reputation of the company could be affected if we do not get in front of it.
All right, we'll go ahead and go with the majority. Okay, we got another great answer. So the least preferred option is definitely to pay. There's no evidence that this is a genuine threat, and McLaren should avoid funding criminals. Okay. Pulling out is an okay option, is premature considering the evidence, and it has unprecedented reputational and financial implications. Informing the police is a good option, but the strongest option at this stage is to inform the FIA to ensure your next steps align with its regulations. Yeah. And maybe, to Enrique's point, maybe they are going to want to at least notify other teams as a potential for a breach.
All right, great answer, everybody. All right, so Saturday night, the FIA has been informed and has suggested that you continue your preparations as usual. A full investigation will open on Monday. McLaren Security has since confirmed that the rogue USB was malicious. So the security team already informed that the USB was bad. However, the device wiped itself during the team's reverse engineering attempts, making it impossible to determine how or even if it was deployed. Security recommends that you confiscate all team USBs as a precaution, but acknowledges that this could raise concerns and affect preparation. Ultimately, the decision is yours. How will you proceed? So, guys, we are the team principal and we need to take a decision. So we did find that there was malicious code on the USB. When we tried to reverse engineering, it itself erased. So, and this is the email that our security team is sending. It says, "Hi team, we spent the last couple of hours with the USB you were concerned about. Definitely malicious kit. We tried to reverse engineer it, but it wiped itself. No idea what it was up to, what is up to, but I suggest retrieving all USBs from the team, including charging cables. This is ultimately up to you though. Thanks, security." So one of the reasons they're asking to pick up all the charging cables is there's a lot of cybersecurity threats come from places where we don't even imagine. And sometimes, like on a USB cable, they can grab and put like a USB stick in there, or even a little SIM in there. When you connect that to your computer, that can download a payload. So, even though that's why it's always important to involve our security and our cybersecurity teams, because attacks can come from, the most unexpected places. So guys, let's see what you answer. So the three options are confiscate USBs. Security is your priority. Any questions asked can be answered honestly. Option 2, don't confiscate USBs. This may erode trust in the camp, harming preparation for the race. And option 3, approach team to confiscate USBs, except Lando and Daniel. You can reduce the risk while protecting their preparation. So let everybody know except the pilots. That's option 3. So what do you guys think is the best option? Should we confiscate the USBs? Should we not do anything, as we believe it might affect the result of the race? Or, should we approach team and confiscate USBs, but don't let the pilots know about it so they don't get disrupted? What do you think, KJ, is the best option?
No, I think it's definitely worth confiscating USBs. Security's got to be the priority, but at the same time, I definitely don't want to let Lando and Daniel know. So it's because I mean, you're already mentioning before, he's already in pole position. Don't want to have them worry. So I think it's really the worry should be on us. So maybe approach the team, confiscate the USBs, and just not worry about Lando and Daniel.
Yeah, I agree. But I do think that we need to do something.
Yeah.
If we did find a malicious code and we're getting a threat,
Yeah. Especially since they had a backdoor on it, right? Like that's always even more concern. And then we have an anonymous attendee that sent, I don't see the option to run a full system scan instead of confiscating USBs. And that's fair. So like that's the other thing too. I mean, maybe concurrently we maybe wanted to do the scans, but really at the end of the day, right, it's still like, what do we do with the USBs? That's one of the things we need to worry about. But yeah, definitely doing a system scan could be another thing that would be a potential option. Or at the same time doing this concurrently while confiscating USBs or approaching the team.
Yeah. So everybody, get your vote in so we can see what reveal the answers. Let's give it 5 more seconds.
Yeah, keep that in mind as well. You can also make your comments anonymous as well. So feel free to do that. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and review.
Oh, yeah. Somebody said that they don't see the option to run full systems. Oh, you already mentioned that. No.
Yeah, looks like we got a majority to go for option 1.
Option 1. Confiscate USBs. Security is your priority. Any questions asked can be answered honestly.
Should we go ahead and go with that one, Enrique?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I think that when security and risk comes to the table, we need to be a little bit wary, a little bit conservative. And also, I would let Lando and Daniel know, maybe I don't want to have them worried about the race, but just in case they see something funny during, the race about their car or anything, maybe they can raise an alert and we can take action soon. And I think everybody needs to be aware of this. If we're going to decide to go with a race, I think everybody needs to know the risks so we go in as a team.
Yeah, that's valid. That's valid. So let's go ahead and go with option 1 and see what the impact is.
All right.
Awesome. Great answer. So it's saying that the USB was indeed malicious. Security recommends confiscating all of them, right? The least preferred option is not to confiscate USBs. I think we all agreed there. Confiscating USBs while avoiding the driver is an okay option, but it negates a security risk, but could erode trust down the line. So Enrique, back to your point, maybe it's good to tell them and then they can alert us as well. The strongest option is to confiscate all USBs. This will negate the security risk ethically, albeit at the risk of some difficult conversations.
Great.
All right, so got warm up. It's almost race time. The hum of engines are reverberating around Silverstone, and the crowd is in full voice. The drivers begin their warm up and are greeted affectionately by something as amiss at trackside. So something's feeling wrong. You radio to Lando for another lap and another, but his tire data is not showing. Another WhatsApp message arrives. The sender tells you that this is a consequence of yesterday's missed payment, but that there is still time to stop the attack. The cost is now increased to 15 Bitcoins. It's too late to consult the FIA. How will you proceed? And here's the message. I'll pull the message up from WhatsApp. All right, so we got a response that said, don't mess around with us. If you care about your driver, send 15 Bitcoins now. So even more ominous. All right, so what do we want to do? We want to race without Lando's tire telemetry. Pulling out would destroy the season and McLaren's reputation. So would negotiating with criminals. So do we want to pull them out? Do we want to continue the race? I mean, also it sounds like we don't want to negotiate with the criminals themselves. Option 2, make the payment. Pulling out would cost McLaren more than £500, as would an unprecedented performance. Option 3, pull Lando out of the race. You cannot justify paying criminals or jeopardizing Lando's reputation with a poor race. Yeah, so big decisions to make here and hard decisions.
Yeah.
And no matter what, it's gonna be some kind of financial risk is what it sounded like.
Well, yeah, that's the issue with the cars now, that they're, they are all technology driven. There is so much data being taken from the cars and so many sensors that are in play that, it could be a really potential risk for the driver.
Yeah, very true.
And if they can have access to the telemetry, we don't know what else they might have access to.
Yeah, 100%. Especially when they're already threatening the safety of our driver as well. I mean, that doesn't feel too good either.
And so everybody, what would you do? Race without the tire telemetry and make the payment, or pull Lando out of the race? What is your response? And wasn't there a movie recently that came out about something like this with Will Smith?
Man, that sounds familiar, actually.
Yeah.
I'll have to look for that one. Yeah, Will Smith is one of my favorite actors anyway. I'll have to definitely look for that.
Yeah, look it up. I saw it a couple of months ago.
It's interesting now. I feel like a lot more movies are coming around cybersecurity and AI. It's a nice way of also educating the world, I think. All right, we'll give it another 5 seconds. Remember, no right or wrong answers. All right, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so even here, it looks like the majority are wanting to pull Lando out of the race. Cannot justify paying the criminals. Okay. Let's see, it looks like we may have a comment. Okay, so we did get a comment as well where life comes first and no negotiating with criminals. So it looks like the majority's wanted to go with pulling Lando out for his safety, which makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's an unnecessary risk. I think it would be a PR disaster that would end up costing McLaren team more than 500,000 pounds if something happened. And God forbid, something would happen to Lando, the race driver, as well. And I think that would be a PR disaster and for the whole campaign of the race.
All right, so let's see what option 3 does for us. Okay, so we got a okay answer. The least preferred option is to pay the threat actor. While you now know this is a genuine cyber attack, McLaren should not bow to criminal organizations. So we shouldn't be paying them. There is no guarantee that the payment will thwart the attack. So basically paying them, we don't know that necessarily means that they're going to actually, like we were kind of mentioning before, like, can we trust them? We don't know that's actually going to get them to, fix the problem, not do anything worse. Do we know the decryptors are actually going to work? Is the decryption key going to work? And it brings the example of the Colonial Pipeline where they paid the hackers millions, but the decryption key just actually didn't work. So pulling out Lando out of the race is an okay option. Will have severe financial and reputational implications, especially 20 minutes before the British Grand Prix. So again, we're talking about brand reputation, and even here it's going to cost us some money. So pulling them out was not the best answer either. The preferred option here is really to race without Lando's tire telemetry. This will impact the race, but it's not unsafe. It also poses diffuse long-term risk to McLaren. And with that type of answer, what I think about is, just like anything else out there, with whether it be sports or anything, people are constantly practicing. So I think here it's one of those things where even if we lose the tire telemetry, like we at least know after so many races we've done, after so many practices we've done, that maybe we know when the tire is going to have to be changed, or like how the heat's going to work, or even the driver, having constant communication with him, being able to know how the car is actually, functioning. Is it not functioning? Can he feel something weird with the car itself? So I think that's where some of that may help mitigate and make, keeping him in the race the better option here. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. The reason why I wanted to pull them out, I don't know if Formula One cars are also have like all the self-driving and other things that might be, an issue if they get hacked. So maybe they don't. So
Yeah, fair.
all right. So contingency plan. Your decision to pull Lando out of the race has been overruled after swift communications with leadership. So the top brass told us that there's no way we're pulling out. It said that unless the situation poses a high risk to safety, which tire telemetry does not, withdrawing isn't an option. With just 10 minutes until lights out, you need a contingency plan. Lando's tires are going to degrade quickly on the hot tarmac, and with no data, you'll need all your experience to balance speed and durability. Coming clean now may impair Daniel's and Lando's performances, so you agree to schedule pit stops for Lando ahead of time to manage the risk of tire failure. When will you call Lando in for tire assessment? So we're not going to have the telemetry to make decisions. So we're going to have to be pulling him into the pit stops to see what the tires are looking like, to see what we need to change. So the three options that we have are laps 15, 30, and 45. This is low risk and will almost guarantee tire durability. However, it may slow Lando down and impact his place in the standings. Option 2, lap 17 and 34. This is a medium risk, balancing speed and tire durability. Or option 3, which is only pull him back at lap 26. This is high risk and favors speed over tire durability. It could be the difference you need to keep Lando on top. So what will your option be? Pull him in 3 times, pull him only 2, or only once to check on his tires?
Yeah, I think this one's really where you have to assess the risk, right? How risk adverse are we? Are we medium, low? Do we have confidence in the driver, the practices, understanding the cars?
Yeah. I think you really need to take that into account. But like you mentioned before, I think also the experience is going to come into account. From what I've seen in races, normally cars tend to perform differently when their tires are being spent. Yep. So I think that if the driver is experienced, he should be able also to detect. But then again, I don't know. I'm not a Formula One expert, so probably some of our participants have more experience or more savvy in Formula One.
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to drive a Formula One car myself, so what do I know? All right, we got another comment in box. Says F1 race drivers should have the ability to feel the quality of the tires. Yeah, I have to agree. Now that's like one thing, like even with my experience in driving, you can sense when something's off, right? When something's weird with the car, or sounds wrong, or whatever it is. So I feel like these guys has the experience enough. They probably are more in tune with their cars than we are, even personally with our own.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So we get another 5 seconds for the remaining responses.
You should be able to detect it with a grip.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and reveal the responses. There you go. Got the last couple in. Okay, so looks like we got a majority going for the medium risk.
All right, so everybody's going for lap 17 and 34.
I think that's not too bad. Let's see how it pans out. Oh, that's a good answer. So not great. Let's see what it says. So the least preferred option is to pit stop just once, as this runs a high risk of tire failure. Driver safety is paramount in this scenario, which makes 3 pit stops the strongest option. Okay, so he may lose a little bit of time, but at least we know that he's okay, and then we're checking the tires frequent enough. So 3 times was the low risk option was the better risk option just because of safety.
Okay.
All right, so final laps. There are 5 laps to go, and Lando is in 5th place when you suddenly lose trackside engine data for his car. So it's getting worse. Your phone vibrates with another WhatsApp message, which says, "Think you can finish." This sparks concern in the team about whether it's safe to continue. Should Lando complete the race? And here's the WhatsApp message. We'll pull that up for everybody. So think you can finish. All right, so we want to finish up option one, or do we want to pull Lando out? It isn't safe to finish the race.
That's a tough decision.
Yeah.
What would you do, KJ?
Man, I think at this point, I think we should just go ahead and finish, just because again, brand reputation's on the line, financial risks, you know, and it's like one of those things like, will we get a chance to compete again if we end up pulling out? So me, I think I'd finish up. But again, if it's safe to do
Yeah,
so.
that's the thing. I think we would need to consult with the tech teams to see if there's any real danger here that can be, and make an informed decision on that.
Yeah, fair. And it looks like we may actually have a question in the chat. Enrique, I'm not sure if we can allow them to jump in or. All right, give another 5 seconds for responses. All right, let's go ahead and review. Okay, it looks like a majority is going with option one. I think we'll go ahead and proceed just for purpose of time, because I think we have one more after this, so we'll just go ahead and continue. All right, so yeah, option one was a great answer. The preferred option is to push through to the finish line, as it is safe to drive without engine telemetry for a few laps. So since we have a few laps left, let's keep it going.
All right.
That pop up for you, Enrique?
Not yet. There he is. Press conference. Your decision to finish the race transpired to be a good one. Lando crossed the line without incident in fifth, a great achievement that leaves him second place in the standings, with Lewis Hamilton's victory edging him in front. Daniel finished eighth. There has been some friction, however, regarding the team's handling of the cyber attack over the past 2 days. You have now debriefed Daniel and Lando, but rumors are circulating about your pre-race issues. Lando is about to speak to reporters who will no doubt push for answers. How will you instruct him to respond? All right, guys. So race is over. There are a lot of rumors. You know, the reporters are going to run for the pilots to interview them and ask them about the race. What should we do? Let's see the options that we have.
Yeah, and I don't know if you can see that as well. Enrique wants to pop.
Oh, yeah, the social media.
Social media.
So taking a look at what social media is saying, looking forward to getting Lando's thoughts on the cyber attack later. Let's see what McLaren have prepared. What's going on over McLaren's field? Feels a bit dodgy to me. What a race. Can't wait to get in the interview pit with Lando and Lewis. We'll share news as I get it. So reporters are eager to report what's going on. Let's see what are the options to handle this? What are we going to communicate about the incident? And what should the pilots reveal? So the first option is to be honest, place no limits on what Lando can tell reporters. Option 2 is deny, tell Lando to dispute cyber attack claims outright and credit the issues to a software bug, you know. Or option 3, deflect, tell Lando to deflect questions around cyber attacks and focus on his exceptional performance. So what option should be the best one, guys? Everybody, let's please vote. Be honest, deny, or deflect, and focus the conversation on the performance.
Yeah, here I think I wouldn't let Lando talk too much about it because we probably even on our side are probably still trying to figure things out, right? But let's just, I think personally for me, I just focus on the race and how excited we are that we finished and how well Lando did.
Yeah. I think it's too soon to be able to communicate something. I would say that we would do more investigation and then look into it and then communicate.
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right, everybody. This is the last one. So given your responses.
All right, we get 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, pretty good split. Option 1, people saying be honest, and 58% going with let's tell Lando to deflect questions around cyber attacks and focus on his performance. I think option 3 kind of goes with what we were talking about as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and go with that one.
All right.
All right, we did end up getting a great answer. The least preferred option is for him to deny the knowledge of the cyber attack. Letting Lando speak honestly is a good option. You have debriefed him, albeit late in the day, but he knows what's going on. He can tell him what he knows so far. The preferred option, though, is for Lando to deflect questions surrounding the attack. He can focus on his excellent race and its impact on standings, acknowledging his technical issues at a high level. McLaren can release a public statement later. So let's do our investigation internally, and then we'll go back to it. But let's focus on how excited we are and how well we did. So there you go. So there, we're done. Appreciate it, guys. You guys did awesome. Greatly appreciate everyone's support.
Yeah, thanks for everybody's participation. And I think the idea of having these exercises is to be able to have these discussions, without being right in the middle of the crisis for real, and be able to agree on how we're gonna, confront these issues and incidents when they happen.
TKJ, thank you so much for the session. I think it was super interactive. It's fun to put something that's exciting into the day-to-day perspective. No, the racing was super interesting for this season. I think this relates back to something that anybody can attest to or see how real it could be. The beauty about this, as you know, it's like you've developed this very closely with McLaren, which is also super interesting, and it's things that happen every day. So I think the whole purpose of this, and you guys made it amazing, is how do we, be prepared or prepare in case of an attack, and this just helps us do a stereotype. So thank you so much for your time. It was super entertaining. It's actually something that happens on a day-to-day basis, and I think it's super critical for any type of business or company to relate it back to them. So thank you so much for that. I don't know if you guys have any last comments that you would want to do before we close the session.
Well, for me, I just want to mention that this incident, it was more of a fun kind of a topic, which is the Formula One, which everybody loves. But some of the tabletop exercises that we do also are very specific to industry, and they have very specific metrics to those industries about, stock price, about operation effectiveness, about productivity, and different things that get affected in a cyber crisis, as well as reputation and legal issues. And I think that all these issues are things that companies need to take into account and need to work through them in a simulation like this, so they know how to act and how to react when it really happens. So
no, I would just add that the great thing with Immersive Labs is we can definitely customize and make it as complex as you need. So if you have an incident response plan already in place, or if you don't, we can quickly relate to that. Also tell you as an organization how well you are, when your participants go through this, how closely you're relating to that IR plan. But then also even beyond that, we do have a team sim as well, where we can do this, where we kind of get people mentioning before, we should be running scans while doing this, right? We actually even have opportunities to run these simulations with multiple teams at the same time. So now really truly pressure testing our teams and making sure multiple people are getting involved as they would normally in a real life scenario. So really, at the end of the day, thanks so much for you guys for having me as well.
Thank you,
Thank you.
guys. Thanks, HSBC and MetaBaseQ for organizing these conversations. I think the awareness and the level of criticality for these topics is big. So thank you for the effort, the time, and everything that happens behind the scenes. And we welcome you tomorrow to our 8th session, which is digital platforms. We're going to have amazing speakers from HSBC, Nadia Hijazi. She's the global head of wholesale digital channels at HSBC, and Siva Ram, the global head of digital security and fraud wholesales from HSBC. So I think the conversation tomorrow, as all of the companies, or most of the companies are going into digital transformation, is going to be very insightful. So we invite all of you to tomorrow connect 10 Central Time for the 8th session of this consecutive conversations. So thank you again, and have a great Tuesday. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.